So the renovation's coming along pretty nicely. This is about what I would expect based on my last 2 years of renovating. I think it's coming in pretty nice on this hillside considering the amount of rain that we've got. I don't see any significant washing. Looks like it's pretty evenly spread. So this is mainly what we're after today, the crabgrass. I'm not really worried about many of the other weeds, but this crabgrass is the one that I worry about because it gets very large very quick and it will completely outcompete all this Zenith in here. We're at July 9th, 2022, and we're roughly about 18 days since we seeded this Zenith Zoysia grass. Renovation's coming along really nicely. Have not done anything to the Zoysia grass. Matter of fact, hadn't even walked on it. All we've done is watered it. We're about 4 waterings a day, every 3 hours or so, 5 to 10 minutes a zone, really depending on the zone. Haven't done any fertilization, no mowing, no weed control, nothing. So today we're gonna be walking over it and hand pulling a few weeds that are starting to come up. Got some crabgrass, I've seen some nutsedge, and a few various weeds throughout there we'll look at. But basically just gonna be walking around on this renovation, hand pulling the weeds, and trying not to disturb the Zenith. So there's a couple different ways you can address this crabgrass. If you look at the Drive Accelerate label, which is just a quinclorac, it says you can use it at seeding, before seeding, post seeding. Really just about any time you want to spray it, you can spray it according to the label. The only other method that I know of is hand pulling it, which is what I'm going to do today. We'll see how long it takes me and I'll check back with you, but figure about an hour I can cover this whole area and pull up all this crabgrass. And not only does that save money, it costs you a little bit of time, but you don't spray any herbicides that may or may not set back the Zoysia grass growth. Got a little bit of spurge coming up along the side here. Really doesn't matter through here because this is going to be a landscape bed, but you can just grab it right by the center and usually it'll pull right up as well. A couple different ways that I've found to pull this and be efficient at it. When it's this small, you can just grab it right at the base, kind of wiggle it back and forth, and it'll pull right up, minimal disturbance. As it gets bigger and it tends to break off at the base because it's rooted really well, you can take a flathead screwdriver and stick right beside it and pop it up, or you can grab it with a pair of pliers and pull it up that way. While you're going along through here pulling these weeds, you can also pick up any rocks that you see, and you can pick up any fallen leaves or anything like that that may cause you to have some bare spots in this Zoysia grass. Just shake it back and forth a little bit, and it tends to kind of leave the soil behind and just pull up the bare roots. So one of the catches to doing this, you can see that Zoysia seedling that I pulled up. It's got maybe an inch long root system on it. So that root system is very prone to drying out. And this is what you're trying to keep moist whenever you're doing those daily waterings. So what I do is try to do a heavy overnight water and then let the surface kind of firm up a little bit before I get on it, walk on it. If you're walking on this and leaving boot prints and mashing those seedlings down in the mud, you're likely to kill them that way as well. So you want to make sure that you protect the root zone, but you also don't want it leaving footprints as you walk through the area. All right, so we're about 6,500 square feet back here, and took about an hour to do, but got about a half a bucket of crabgrass and sticks and rocks and leaves and stuff like that. It looks pretty clean now. There's obviously some areas that are doing better than others. Probably just the amount of sunlight or water it gets or whatever, but eventually it'll all even up. I think now we're gonna put out some fertilizer on it. All right, we've got 2 different products we're going out with today for this liquid fertilizer application. We've got the GreenePop 16-21-2. We're going to go out with about 7 ounces per 1,000 on it. That's going to give us right around that 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen. And then we're going to put out some green charge as well, the 2600. We're going to go with about 5 ounces per 1,000 on it, and that's going to give us about 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen. So right at about 0.2 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square foot over this area. And one thing about this green charge, it's got a complete micronutrient blend in it. So I'm spraying today with a broadcast T-jet nozzle. It is ultra low volume, quart per 1,000 square foot, and I plan on letting this sit overnight before I water it in tomorrow. Get a little bit of a foliar uptake to it. There's a lot of different products you could use for this application. Last year I ran a straight nitrogen source. This year I'm gonna run a little bit of a more balanced one. Really, if you could find a 1-1-1 ratio, it would be even better. All right, well, I appreciate y'all watching. If you got any questions or comments, leave them below and I'll be sure to try to answer them. Just gotta trust the process. Last couple of years the renovations have turned out really nicely. This one does see a little bit less sunlight than the ones up front, but this time next year it'll look really nice. Here we are at the next morning and we're getting a nice slow rain.